Well, sports fans, as promised, I managed to get the Dagger off the ground, and I'm going to go out and take a look at the SS-11 Harpy. I seem to have a power problem, and I did not have this problem when I was dealing with this thing in creative mode, so I'm not really sure why I'm having a power problem. I have learned the hard way that attacking many of these ships from below is not a good idea. So I'm going to go ahead and try to approach this one actually, and now I'm finding out that as I accelerate upwards I even lose control of my camera, so because I don't have power for that, and that is not good. As I said, I didn't have this problem when I was dealing with it in creative mode. This already looks like it's damaged, and I'm pretty certain that this is not my fault. However, if any of that damage is to the guns, then I'm going to take that. What do we have going on here? We have a very badly damaged ship floating here that has no markers on it, and I'm pretty sure that that's not crashed. I'm trying to get a look at the underside to see if the Harpy might be safer. It looks like it might be safer to approach from the underside. I probably should not be doing this, but, oh, and let me make sure, because I have a bunch of stuff going on that... Okay, we have our large shield generator. Oh, I'd be willing to bet that the problem is the shield generator. And I think that the Harpy is now going down. Yep, looks like the Harpy just went down, which means that this guy is the one responsible for that, and unfortunately, because it doesn't have an antenna, I have no way of knowing how far away I am from this thing. So well, I'm obviously within rocket range. Oop, I see a missile launcher. I saw a missile launcher. Oh, that's the antenna sparking. Now what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to bring this thing down so that I can go out with the Sikorsky, try to do some salvaging. Not really sure what's holding this thing aloft because I'm not really seeing any thrust coming from any of the engines. However, I have found through personal experience that some graphics do not show at a distance, so it's entirely possible. However, I'm right underneath this thing, so that is a tough thruster. Those are not so tough. Like I said, what is holding this thing aloft? one of the things I'm trying to avoid is I saw a couple of guns on the roof, and I'm trying to avoid having those suddenly leaping up into range. I think my rocket launchers are all done. Yep, rocket launchers are done. And so apparently are the guns that were on top of something's got to be holding this thing up. I'm not sure what. Particularly because all of the reactors that I'm looking at are damaged. So those aren't putting out any power. Like I said, I don't know what's holding this thing aloft, unless it's that last... It's got to be that last thruster. This one here. Nope. Still there. And I have no idea why. So what I'm going to do, and this is going to be an unusual way of doing things, I'm going to go ahead and drop a marker on it and then back up away from it to make sure that I'm not going to crash into the thing. I probably shouldn't be too worried about locating this one because of the fact that it is crashed directly under the other one. However, if the other one decides to move, oh, that made quite a mess. But it looks like it took care of the weapons, which is what I'm concerned with. Well, here I spent all this time, and I have to tell you that I did spend a considerable time on the design for this fighter, mainly because I had gone through several other designs that didn't work, and then I arrived at this one, and it worked very well once I broke down and decided to add the shield. Again, obviously the shield generator takes more power than I had anticipated, which is probably why I'm having a power problem. I also have to remember that I divested myself of all of my stuff before leaving. So let me make sure I'm not going to crash into anything now. There's no point building a brand new fighter if I then promptly wreck it. I just realized I don't have any landing gear on the bottom of this thing. I probably should. One of the other things that I'm attempting as a design change, I was finding that I was having trouble getting enough power. Yeah, now see, as I slide sideways, I was having trouble getting enough power from batteries, and the batteries themselves were heavy and they took up quite a bit of space. So since I have over 1,000 kilograms of uranium, I decided to try something different. Well, different for this playthrough anyway. And I went ahead and put in a nuclear reactor, which I have to tell you, I haven't used a nuclear reactor since the last time I did an actual playthrough in space, because you don't find uranium on planets. So now, again, let me remember that I'm out of hydrogen, or very nearly out of hydrogen. That needs a steel plate, and I got rid of all my steel plate. Because I am an idiot. Grab all of my stuff. I knew with all the build and repair systems that I currently have working that would get welded up fairly quickly. Now let me go ahead and set this thing down before something dramatic happens to it, like running out of power and crashing. Oh, speaking of the devil. Oh, my landing gear is set to auto lock. Okay, well, I'm going to go ahead and take the chance and shut off the... Yep, okay, so I can shut off all my thrusters. And now we take out our beloved recovery vessel. Why am I... Now I'm having trouble... I'm having power trouble with this one. Did somebody have some sort of a stealth upgrade that I'm not familiar with? Actually, while I'm here, let me take a look at something. No, I actually do have uranium in it. Wow, I have a lot of uranium in it. Those little reactors must have been sucking up uranium for quite a while. Yeah, I'm not sure why I'm suddenly having a power problem. Now this is going to be a little weird. Why do I have one of my... That's unusual. Oh, that's... Okay, I understand. Hadn't used that in a while. I had heard a vicious rumor that there was a script that you can use that will actually help you with this whole trying to push the limits of the speed boundary, and will keep you from pushing against it to excess and basically wasting power. I want to make sure that I'm not... I have to remember that I have a lot of lift on this thing because I had planned it for moving big heavy things. Now I'm sure that once it gets started, taking this thing apart that this thing is going to just crash. And this is one of those days when you wish you had a tractor beam. I might be able to get a hold of it. With a landing gear. Up until the time that something gets disintegrated. Still trying to figure out what's holding the damn thing together and holding it in the air. This probably will not work, but alright, I'm going to go ahead and grab that, and then I'm going to get into my build and repair system. And I'm going to set all of these to, as soon as I find it, I'm going to set all of them to take the farthest blocks first. Which means, hopefully, the entire ship will be ground up before it gets to the blocks that I'm currently fastened to. And if it should turn out that something suddenly starts dragging me to the ground, well, then that is what it is. I have 5 years of power. Holy crap. I'm going to go ahead and fast forward over the grindy bits, since that's simply going to take a while. However, I have had a couple of viewers that have expressed interest in actually watching the salvage process, so I'll go ahead and do a fast forward as opposed to simply a cut, and we'll go ahead and turn the HUD off so that you guys can actually see what's going on. Well, that was certainly interesting. The only thing that I can think of is that that was intended to be a base, and for whatever reason, it either spawned in the air, and it wasn't supposed to, or it actually was supposed to be some sort of a sky base, and I have encountered a base known as a sky fortress. And it was simply something similar to that, and it had been so mutilated in the combat with the Harpy that I simply couldn't tell what it was. Now I'm going to turn everything back on just long enough for me to figure out how high up I am. Now, I was under the impression that the shield generator on the Dagger, which again, I had not tested that in a survival world, and in a creative world you typically don't have to worry about power in some circumstances. So the only thing that I can think of as far as the Dagger is concerned is the fact that, wow, this thing's just completely coming apart. The only thing I can think of is that the Dagger, the shield system takes more power than I had allotted for, and because I didn't actually test it under fire, I never had to worry about building up the shield or anything like that. It could be that the shield needed to build up strength or what have you, and that it draws more power during the energized cycle. I don't know. But I can't tell you that the Sikorsky does not have a shield generator, and so I have absolutely no idea why I should be having a power problem with this ship, because the last time I took it out, I had quite a bit of surplus power, even after I ground up an entire ship and brought it back. So I'm not entirely sure what's going on. It could be that there has been a minor change. It could be that the modder that created the engines that I'm currently using has modified or updated the engines in some way, and so now the engines have been rebalanced. And if that's the case, then, well, I'm just going to have to deal with it. Go ahead and turn off the build and repair systems, since I know that those draw quite a bit of power. Yep, I'm definitely not used to this kind of a power problem. So we're going to have to see what's going on. And this, again, will be something for me to do in my off-screen time. Now, that other military signal, it's definitely a ship. Oh, cliffside's up there. I was about to say that I got home awful fast. So I'm going to go ahead and return the Sikorsky to its nest. And in my off-screen time, I started a rebuild of my ice and stone mining facility, primarily because I started running out of iron. And since I was going to be running out of ice fairly soon anyway, I was going to have to rebuild my automated ice mine. And at the point that the mine is at, I think that probably half or more of what I'm going to be bringing in is going to be stone anyway. So I thought I would go ahead and kill lots of birds with one rock and go ahead and just set up the system. This power problem really has me a little bit concerned because, particularly with the Sikorsky, the Dagger is a relatively untried design, at least as far as survival is concerned. As I said, I flew it around a bit in creative mode after I had built the thing. Yeah, see, that's giving me some headaches here. That's making me nervous. Gonna have to figure that out. So I've got a few things to do in my off-screen time. Let me come over here and see. We've got some things held up here. Probably small steel tubes. Wow. For want of small steel tubes, the kingdom was lost. I have to tell you. I know that there is also a script that will automatically build things as they are needed. And one of the things I'm going to try to do is get some of these automated scripts working. I will probably not have time to get to those before my next episode, particularly because this episode was somewhat unplanned. But that's fine. I don't necessarily mind. impromptu tasks anyway, but I'm not going to take the dagger back out until I figure out what's going on with that power problem, because the last thing I need to do is pull some sort of high G maneuver and then all of a sudden I'm having some sort of a power problem. I'm going to have to get the drill all set up, and that's going to take more interior plate, and I'm going to have to go get that all set up. But we'll see what's going on, and then of course there's always more stone to remove from inside. Again, thank you all for following along. I hope you enjoyed yourself. I hope a little bit of it was educational. Likes are appreciated, and subscriptions doubly so. This is Dark Geyser signing off. Thank you for watching.